Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Manny, and I'm coming to you live from the Manny J Media Studios here in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I'm here with Interim Chief of the Worcester Police Department, Mr. Paul
How you
Saucier.
doing? Good
I'm
seeing you.
great, thank you. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us and giving us a little bit of an update about what's going on in the Worcester Police Department and your service to the community. But thank you even more for coming to visit our studio. Last time we came to your house, this time we came to ours. How you feel?
Good. We wanted to check out your spot.
Yeah, we got pretty
Looks
cool
good.
gigs, right?
Yeah,
Not
it's
too
cool
bad.
down here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
we got the lighting good on you. We
Yeah.
got the nice brick wall in the back, the Managing Media Way, lane. And yeah, so thank you
I
so
like
much for
it.
joining me today.
I like it.
And so June 21st was the official jump off to summer. So we're here, the most active time, in my opinion, in Worcester a year. There's so many events going on. There's so much going on in the community and people wanting to go to different places like our beaches and our different attractions in the city. So at Polo Park, for example, a lot of influx of people coming in from out of town. It must be a very anxiety-ridden time for the Worcester Police Department. Would you say?
Well, it is busy. We
Yeah.
just graduated a class of 25, but we're still
Congratulations.
thank you, but we're still 40 short.
Yeah.
So we are deploying um, our officers according to where they need to be.
Okay.
So we take everything into account as far as what's going on in the city.
Excellent. And so I wanted to just jump into a couple things that as I walk around, they say the streets are talking. I hear a lot of those voices. And I just wanted to talk about some of the things that the community might be concerned about. And, just recently, there's been a lot of news about the DOJ investigation into I think it was the racial equity audit. Or was that the city?
The city conducted the equity audit.
Okay.
They hired somebody to do it. Yes.
Okay, so the DOJ racial equity audit, what did you get from that?
So the DOJ is different from the equity audit. It's
Okay.
a whole separate thing by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the equity audit was an audit conducted. This is the third one in the city.
Okay.
And again, we always try to do better.
Right.
So what they're telling us and how we can take those recommendations and move them forward is what we're going to do.
Excellent. And so you right now at the current moment from either audit, there's not much information that you're able to move forward with.
The equity audit is online, so that's out there. The
Okay.
DOJ, I have no timeline. They don't pass that information on to us.
And I mean, I know one of your more famous quotes was, basically taking accountability and admitting that there are racist issues or at least there were racist issues in the Worcester Police Department. How do you see, since you've become the interim chief, that culture shift?
Well, again, when I made those statements, I was talking about policing in general.
Okay.
Right? When we go back in time, there historically has been negative impact on communities of color based on different policies. So that's everywhere. The Worcester Police have been working very hard. We've just graduated our most racially diverse class, I think, in the history of the Worcester Police Department.
That's dope.
So we're moving forward. Our recruiters, Angel Miranda, Sergeant, and Casey Onibo, they're doing an outstanding job. They're out there recruiting. We had 273 people from Worcester sign up for the last test. Of that, most of them were people of color.
Excellent. I love that. That's so important because I'm sure you can attest to as well. Representation is so important, and when you're in the midst of a crisis, which, let's be real, that's the police officer's job for the most part is interacting, engaging, and trying to de-escalate crises. And how important is it, when there is a crisis in a specific area, to have a police officer who is not only familiar with that area, but those people are also familiar with that officer to really assist in making sure that the de-escalation is actually happening and we're not just arresting people left and right.
Right, and we're out there, and again, it's important to be diverse so that we understand others' customs as well. The way I relate with you may be different. There's some demographics where they look at respect in a different way. eye contact, things like that.
Right.
That's stuff we learn in the academy, but having officers come on the job that already know that is just a huge benefit.
And what type of training do you plan on implementing for your newest class to ensure, uh, proper equity, proper engagement in the community, specifically in communities of color, to try to help the community as a whole feel safer, not only in our community but with the police department?
So the officers go through a 6-month police academy. They just came out last Friday. Now they do 12 weeks of field training with a veteran officer. What I have instituted this year, a couple months back, was community engagement patrols. So officers are required to come out of their vehicles for 30 minutes and walk a footbeat. And the objective of that is to talk with people, get to know them on a first name basis, and just make an engagement with the community,
Right.
so that they know we're not just a uniform,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Well, and familiarity is everything. When people aren't familiar with things, they tend to get scared, and when you're scared, you tend to get defensive, or the fight or flight kicks in, which could be really dangerous to officers doing their job, as well as a community member who, things just don't need to escalate, and they don't need to end up in a situation where they may be arrested, or they may have to go through that entire process. Things could just be handled by simple conversations sometimes.
That's it. It's all about communication.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a question here that I'm curious about. Does the police department hire felons?
No, you need to carry a weapon, a firearm.
Right.
So you have to be 21 years old to get a license to carry. And if you are a felon, you cannot have a license to carry.
All right, makes sense. Thank you. I appreciate that question, and I appreciate your answer. So I do want to get to another hot button issue in the community, and that is the Shot Spotter program. A lot of people, it's definitely a great divide, pretty much 50-50 on what people think about the program and its benefits versus, its cons. A lot of people are concerned that maybe the Shot Spotter program is being used and abused for whatever benefit, maybe the benefit on the police department side, to focus in or target certain demographics. It seems as though a lot of the Shot Spotters are in certain demographic areas. Can you speak a little bit to
Sure.
why you put these spot shotters where you put them? What is your plan? What is your goal?
So 10 years ago, when we rolled this out, the areas where those devices are were based on past homicides and shootings. Now, it makes no sense to put something that's going to capture the sound of gunfire in a location where statistically you have no evidence of gunfire, right?
Yeah.
And to speak to that, we have now 8 miles of it. Within that 8 miles, we collected 997 shell casings. Wow. Almost 1,000 bullets flew within that 8 miles. That tells me that it's in the correct spot, because outside of that, I think there was roughly 100 and something citywide besides that 8 miles.
That's wild. That's a lot of gunshots, and that one specific 8 mile area is what you're talking about.
Correct.
That's a lot. So another question that I had regarding this is, what can you talk about or what can you say to the accuracy of the Shot Spotter program?
So the accuracy, and I'm going to play you something in a second, is based on when an alert comes in, right? It's a sound of gunfire. These sensors capture that. They triangulate it. They get you a GPS location. That signal gets sent to California, where a human reviews it, along with analyzing an algorithm. Now, to say that the only way to confirm a shooting is if you have a person hit, shell casings, property damage, or an eyewitness. If you don't have that, it does not mean that it didn't occur. And I'm going to play you something, and I want you to tell me what this sounds like. So
I mean, anybody who's played Call
But
of
this is the
Duty,
thing.
that's a gunshot.
when the officers went to that call, they spoke with someone. The person said, "I didn't hear anything," so it got cleared out. That would be cleared out as not confirmed, but you know something happened there,
Right.
right? You have a machine learning tool that listens to thousands of gunshots because this is in 170
And that's a big
cities.
difference from fireworks. Like clearly, that's one of the claims is, there's how do you know if they're fireworks versus gunshots?
Again, and nothing's 100%. This is just a tool. This
Yeah.
is a tool for us to try to have a handle on gun violence. It's one of many tools. And the big thing, there's a study from the Brookings Institute that said that 80 to 85% of all gunshots are not called in. We have 70 last year in 2023 of confirmed gunshots. 41 times out of the 70, nobody called the police.
Yeah.
We cannot start an investigation if we didn't know it didn't happen. You shouldn't be in your home terrified that you just heard a gunshot and the police didn't show up. And that's what happens.
Right.
So I look at it as a community policing tool. And again, it's one tool in many that we use to keep shootings down. As we were talking before, last year at this time there was 18 to 19 non-fatal shootings. This year we have 10,
Yeah.
right? 10 and 12 victims. Those are the things we look at closely to make sure that the things we are doing in the community are making an impact on gun violence.
So I just heard you say last year there were about 18 to 19 victims of gun violence. This year you're down to about 10. We're only halfway through the year, so fingers
Right.
crossed, we'll make it through the rest of the year with no further issues, because I think any life that's taken is too many lives. But what is the protocols to ensure that the response to these the shot spotter isn't gonna put anybody in the community at risk of maybe being falsely targeted?
So again, we have 20 routes set up in the city. So the officers going to these calls are the same officers that are already in that area.
Okay, so they're familiar with the
In
people
addition
that
to
are there.
that, they're familiar with the people. A supervisor goes as well.
Okay.
That's per our policy that a supervisor will go, and the only person who can clear it is the supervisor. The other thing is we operate on probable cause and reasonable suspicion. We just don't roll up and grab somebody and handcuff them, right? You need probable cause to do that. ShotSpotter does not give you probable cause. It's just sending you to an area quick, more quick than if somebody did call it in.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of that is if you can get to a victim fast, they have a better chance of survival. All our officers carry Quick Clot, which is basically a gauze that you put into the wound, and tourniquets, and we're all certified.
So it helps
in
from people
first
bleeding
responder.
out on the
Exactly.
scene.
We've been
So
to
first-
shootings. Like if you get hit in the femoral artery in the leg, you can die, right?
Wow.
They'll go in and stuff it right into the wound to stop the bleeding. And we're the first ones on scene. It's gonna be us before anyone else because we're
And
already out
also,
there.
I mean, I guess, yeah, there's a whole plethora of reasons why you would want to respond quickly. Especially getting first responders out there in time and things like that. So we're gonna take a quick break while I think of more questions that we really want to talk about, because it is summertime and I'm really curious to see what your summer safety initiative is going to be. But I thank my sponsors so much for making this possible. I'm gonna let it go to John. Go ahead, John.
Manny J Media is brought to you by
And welcome back to Manny J Media Interviews with the intern chief of police of the Worcester Police Department, Paul Saucier. Thank you so much for being here and sharing everything that you've been working on in the Worcester Police Department and our community to try to make our community safer. And also, I just wanted to say real quick before we get back to the Shot Spotter program, I have noticed, and I want to make sure that everybody else can hear this from me because I'm out there so much and I see so much. I have noticed a response from the Worcester Police Department to a lot of the complaints that I've heard in the past couple years of how the police department interacts or treats the community. I've noticed a lot more police out in the streets engaging with the community. I've noticed a lot more friendly faces, a lot more smiles. And I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just, the culture shift. You got new officers coming. But I did want to, thank you for at least showing the effort that it is there. And so with that being said, I'm not going to ask you questions about that. I'm going to bring it back to the Shot Spotter program. So how I'm really curious to know how you identify once you hear the shots. Okay, good. You go to that community. How do you identify what's happening? How do we get accountability out of that?
So when an alert goes off, that's again all that stuff happens. The alert goes off. It gets sent to California. A person listens to it and looks at the algorithm. Then it alerts us. All that takes place within 1 minute. The officers then have an app on their phone or on their computer in their vehicle, and it shows a dot on a map within a 25-meter location of where that shot
so it's real
originated
specific.
from. Right.
Really pinpoint.
So we'll have dispatchers say, go behind 130 Elm Street, go in the backyard, because they can see where the dot is.
Wow.
Whereas you called it in from if you heard a gunshot right now here, right, you really wouldn't
have
know
no
where
idea
it is.
where
It
it's
could
coming
be a
from.
mile
Yeah.
away.
Right.
So that's an advantage of that. And
So you're not just hearing a gunshot at Elm Park, and now you have this 5-block radius you got to search and figure out
Correct.
who it could possibly be. It's actually pinpointed as focused to a backyard.
Right.
That's. I mean, I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of pushback to this program. I guess I'm not sure why.
I mean, I look at all the statistics that come out, and I read a lot on this subject and all public safety technology because I think it helps us, right? It's, again, another tool. And the original complaint was that the sensors were put into black and brown neighborhoods,
Right.
and they believe the police are going to go in there and just, stop everybody, and that's not how it works, right?
Have you seen any cases of that?
No.
And have you had any successes from this program as far as maybe preventing a shooting or saving a victim?
Well, I can tell you, so we've started a crime gun intelligence unit within the last 9 weeks, and their specific job is to follow up on these alerts and any information they get in relation to gun crime. And they've made 18 firearm-related arrests, confiscated 9 guns, and we have several open investigations. The key to this unit is we can do everything. We do work with the ATF, state police. We're trying to track where these guns are coming from. How does a 14-year-old get a handgun? Right. Our job is to find that out. Now we're not relegated to right inside Worcester. We can follow leads to surrounding towns. We analyze the shell cases are so important to try to locate. They're about this big, right? And I was going to bring one in, I forgot it, but we track that. So when we get a firearm, last year we had 1 firearm responsible for 9 shootings. So if you take 1 gun off the street, just think about how many shootings that could come from. The other part of that is we analyze those shell casings, goes in a system, it tells us where other shell casings, it's like a fingerprint, are being found from that particular weapon. We've got stuff coming back from Boston, Webster, Providence, Rhode Island, Lowell. So now we know people are traveling, they're doing shootings in Lowell and they're coming to Worcester, and vice versa. Now we try to investigate that and find out who it is, why are they coming here, And then those are the people we want to end up getting and taking off the street, because it's a very small amount of people
Right.
that are doing the shootings. But one person can cause a lot of havoc.
So what I hear you saying now is, in reality, although we as a community who are directly affected by having a shot spotter right in my backyard, right? And I feel like, oh, I don't want them all in my business. What if I'm setting off fireworks and then the police come and I got to defend myself, whatever it is. It's this actually much bigger picture. It's not really about me. It's about the other people out there who are contributing to the crime in Worcester. So if we stop the top dog, it's less likely to trickle down to the regular people in the community who, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, so you have to have three to triangulate a gunshot.
Okay.
Right? So one sensor over here, there's one down the street, isn't gonna, do anything unless three of them are activated
Okay.
based on that loud boom, right? Once that happens, that's when the signal starts going. And again, it all goes within a minute.
Right.
And again, the key is it's a tool, right? We get officers on scene quickly. It's a huge officer safety thing, because it will often tell you if if people are shooting at each other.
Right.
Not just somebody just firing a couple rounds, but there could
That,
be
that
an
was
active
another
gunfight.
thing I was going to ask is, how do you know? Because what if people are just, I'm having a fun night and I'm shooting my gun in the air.
Well,
I
you'll
mean,
hear
I don't,
that, right?
I'm not sure how legal that is, but
It's not
people do
legal,
it,
right?
Because you see it in the movies, so maybe people think they can
Right.
go,
Whatever goes
cowboy
up
up.
must come down, right? And that could hit somebody. So
How dangerous is that, by the way? Do you know? Like, if a bullet goes up when it comes down, will it kill someone?
probably it
Yeah.
could.
I mean, there's potential. I hear you. I've always been curious about that. I never really knew.
I don't know of any incidents of it happening here in Worcester, but I'm sure, these weapons, a bullet could travel thousands of feet. You know what I mean? So it's something that we're out there aggressively doing as far as this crime gun intelligence, to get that information so we can track where these illegal guns are coming from. People are making guns in their house, ghost guns. They can do that, right? You get different parts from wherever, and then use a 3D printer, and they're making guns, and they work. There's also Glock switches, which turns a regular handgun into an automatic weapon.
Oh, wow.
These people are carrying a regular 9mm
Right.
with a 30-round magazine, and
Right.
you can pull that trigger, and it'll be one continuous pull, and you'll have all 30 rounds come out in a second.
Essentially a
and half.
machine gun,
It's a machine gun.
Yeah.
It is a machine gun. And right now there's
which we don't need
legislation-
those. Like,
No.
there's no reason for them.
Well, it's a handgun. You can't
Yeah.
control it either. So, which is dangerous, right? Because now you have somebody letting out 30 rounds. It's
They're gone.
spraying
Yeah.
anywhere, and that's what we're worried about. And there's
Right.
legislation right now to outlaw that in Massachusetts. Because right now, if you have it in your pocket, there's no crime unless it's attached to the gun. Federally, it is a crime. So again, that's why we work with our federal partners. Because sometimes we'll have to take. There's people out there that are on, ankle bracelets that were in shootings. So we will work with the feds as far as the U.S. Attorney's Office, and if we can take them federally, then we will do that, and that will ensure that they'll be, put in prison for a long time. If you're out there shooting multiple people and you've had a couple different opportunities to clean your act up and you haven't, then we don't need that in the community.
Right. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we're all out of time.
It's quick.
Time flies when we're having fun. I know, but before we go, if I could just ask you one last question, and that is, really, that's so excellent. Thank you. We actually have more time than not too much time, but a little bit more time than I thought we had. From your perspective and your lead, what is the Worcester Police Department doing to do their best to ensure that we have a great, safe summer here in the city of Worcester?
So we started our summer impact program early, and it's now in full swing starting this week, actually last week, where we put an extra 18 officers on the street. Part of their patrol plan is to walk a footbeat the first few hours of that patrol.
Yeah.
They do that, and then we want them going after the serious gun offenders. Again, everything is to reduce gun violence. We also do several things in the community as far as our camps. Our gang unit puts on a camp. It's first 3 weeks of July, and there's 100 people in that camp every week. So that's a good thing we do. You know, we're out there, we're going to be very visible, and I like officers doing foot beats. I think that's the best thing you can do. Right? You can drive by in a car all day long. You get out and I say hi to you, you know, it's just means a lot more.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And you know, when you're in a car, it's a machine. It's just a little more intimidating than that person to person contact. It's all about energy too. You know, sitting next to you, I feel you have good energy, right? So I don't feel threatened. I don't feel afraid. So I think that's very important. And I thank you for putting those initiatives in place. And again, I thank you for giving us an update. If the community has any questions at all or any concerns of any kind of police abuse or they want accountability, where can they go?
They can file a complaint online. They can go right on the website, worcesterma.gov/police. You'll see all of our stuff there.